Hey everyone! This week I'm putting together this buildable Star Wars logo. On May 4th, I put together a small teaser trailer for this build. If you haven't seen that, you can check that out at the link right here or in the description below. What I like about the teaser trailer was I tried to recreate the actual crawling, scrolling text from the Star Wars movies, and I think I did a pretty good job of recreating it. So please check it out. It's only a minute long. But today we're going to build the actual set. Normally I don't buy sets that are static like this, but this is pretty iconic and it looks really cool. So I wanted to get it and just see how the build is. Let's get right to it. Oh, and they made the box, one of these ones with the glued lids. I don't like that because it basically destroys the box when you open it. Not that I've been keeping the boxes, but still. Yeah, there's no way to salvage this. Alright, looks like there's 6 numbered bags of parts and actually 2 instruction manuals, which is a little unusual for something this size. There's only 700 pieces in the set. Well, only 700. 700 is a fairly large count. So this is bag number 1. As expected, a lot of black and yellow pieces. There's a tiny bit of color, which of course won't be visible. This first instruction book and the first few bags, we're building the star part of Star Wars. Oh, that's not good. Tore the page. The construction's a little bit different than what I expected. I didn't think to be doing the whole length of it already. I thought we'd be doing an individual letter at a time. At least I know the size of it. It should be about that long. Well, this is unexpected. There's side-facing studs right here, but now this brick with a bit of a recess in it gets installed here, which kind of covers up those side-facing studs, or at least the middle ones anyway. Maybe just the outer 2 are going to be used. Well, there's an interesting brick. It's actually quite useful. Didn't realize they had a brick like that. And there's 2 of these, and they are installed with their side-facing studs facing in opposite directions of each other. And then these pieces get attached to the side. I'm hoping the black is visible. Sometimes filming black, getting any detail out of it is pretty difficult. At least there's a nice variety of parts even so far. This must be the bottom of the A. So the way I'm building it, it'll be read from this direction. So this should be the S, T, A, and the R. Nice pink brick for no reason. So in here is a receiving pin for this hook. Well, there's the end of bag number 1. Interesting construction so far. I didn't expect it to be this thin, for one thing. So quite wide, very thin. And it's all being built around a central spine. But you can already start to see the formation of the letters. So this is the bottom of the S. This is the T, bottom of the A. And this should be the bottom of the R, which is a little unusual. All right, the R has a bit of a wing to the bottom of it. If I have to guess, I'd say bags 2 and 3 probably finish off the star part of the logo. And then the last 3 bags will be the bottom. So next up is bag number 2. These go on some side-facing studs here. Oh, I see my problem. So this wouldn't install properly, and that's because there should not be a gap between that set of studs and that set of studs. So what I did then, I put this on the bottom and it should have been on the top. Now these should fit perfectly. Something as small as that made a difference. There's definitely some interesting construction going on here. Okay, our first big sub-assembly. I'll get this out of the way. So there's the subassembly. Looks like it's forming part of the R. Now, a bit unusual. There's some side-facing studs here, an upside-down brick, and then a little pocket here. There's some studs poking up right here. So this gets turned this way, then attached into there. That's kind of clever. And then one last piece to cap off the top. That's the end of bag number 2. We have one fully formed letter. So you can see how tiny this actually is. It's only maybe, I don't know, is that 2.5, 3 inches high? Not very high. Starting to look good though. I definitely like the way they did this. These type of builds, although they don't have any functionality, you can learn a lot from the construction on how to attach things to the side, like to different faces, and how to make different shapes. These buildable letters are a good way to learn all those different techniques. Time for bag number 3. There's a few interesting looking parts here in bag 3, so there might be a bit of a surprise in store coming up. Nice red and purple brick. Pretty sure those will not be visible. I actually like how they've gone out of their way to put some detail into this interior spine. It's all black pieces, but it's made up of randomly shaped and textured parts to maybe mimic the side of a starship. At least it's better than just having a solid black surface. It's got a little bit of character to it. More side-facing studs here. These pieces are forming the back half of the S. These assemblies are forming the inside of the A. There's our second fully formed letter, the A. Got some red translucent bricks. A little bit surprising, because I don't think they're going to be visible. Oh, I see what they're doing. There's a very small representation of an Imperial battlecruiser, and an equally small representation of the Tantive 4. I mean, there's only 3 parts that go into this. Both of these sit up in this pocket. So that's a little bit of the surprise. Contained within the letter T is this small representation of those 2 ships. Another piece of the S. And one last assembly. The top of the T. There we go. There's the upper part of the logo, Star from Star Wars. The T is constructed such that you can take off this upper portion quite easily so you can see inside. That's kind of a neat feature. I mean, they probably recognize that the set itself is very static. Well, that's not a play feature. It's a nice little hidden surprise. So if you're showing this off to your friends, you can say, hey, look, what's in the T? Small representation of those 2 ships. That's the end of bag 3 and the end of the first half of the logo. There's some exposed black studs up here. I'm not too thrilled about that. I don't know why. I could probably put a smooth black part here, and even for this part here, I could probably do something there if I wanted to change it. Next up is the lower half. Let's get right into bag number 4. Well, 3 of the letters on the bottom of the logo are the same as 3 letters on the top, so I'm guessing the construction is going to be the same, or at least very similar. Never really noticed that before, but the A, the R, and the S are the same on the top and the bottom. Big red piece. Not sure if any of that's going to be visible. I don't think so, but the side might be. Well, I am quite confident I have never seen this piece before. I think it's about half the size of a normal brick, although to the top of the studs it's maybe 2/3 the height. And it's got ridges all around the side and a Technic hole in the middle. Very interesting. Definitely have never seen this one before. Have you seen this part before? If so, let me know in the comments. And what set was it in? Well, for whatever reason, that unique brick is going right there. I don't think it's going to be visible. So why did they use that brick? Just for that height, I guess? Haven't seen this construction yet, so this must be the W. Big sloping elements. Well, this is definitely for the W. Huh. That's a fairly big part to be left over, so I think I missed something. Yep. I missed putting it way back on one of the first steps back there. Okay, that is the end of bag number 4. So again, building the lower parts of the letters, clearly the W, A, little bits of the R, not very much there yet, and then the S. And there's a very unusual brick in there. I still don't know why that was used. Time for bag number 5. There's definitely some repeatable construction in here from the first half. Well, that fancy brick is officially being covered up. That's the top of the R, so now I'm curious. Yep, it is exactly the height of the other one. Oh, hang on. That isn't right. I made a mistake back here. This should have been here. Then these. Then that. Because these are supposed to be flush with the top of that green piece. That assembly. There's a receiving rod for these hooks. I'm not sure why they did that, because there's side-facing studs here, so why they went hooks and studs? Definitely not coming off. So the construction's a little bit different than the first half. There's the top of the S. This gets turned on its side so that these side-facing studs connect into these upside-down bricks at the bottom, similar to what we did in the first half. So the S and the R are now done. 2 letters left. And then we'll have to tie everything together. So next up is bag number 6. A is now done. A lot of pieces left. Is that all going to go into the W? Back half of the R. Finish off that. Now those 3 are done. Last few parts. Well, that's the end of bag number 6. We've got the lower half done. All that we have to do now is put the 2 together. So the lower half is the same height as the upper half, except for this last row of bricks, which is there to tie the 2 together. So if we stick this on top, they're identical lengths. Press that down. There we go. That's the final look. That actually looks really good. Now the letters in the movies are yellow outline with black interior for the letter, but I think this is a good compromise. They've done an actual really good job of mimicking the shape of the actual logo in terms of its curves and profile and everything. I like the black detail on the inside, which isn't just a uniform black. I know it's hard to see on the camera. I'll try to take some close-up pictures, but there's actually texture to the black surface in here, so it kind of looks like the side of a ship or just general mechanical parts. Some fairly interesting construction that went into this. Everything is smooth on the letters themselves, except for the bottom, but even the 2 ends, everything's smooth. There's just a couple studs at the top here sticking up for whatever reason. So overall, it's not that high. As a quick comparison, here's what it looks like next to the buildable love sculpture. The love sculpture is much bigger. You can tell even by their side profiles. This is about twice as thick as this. Twice as thick and twice as high. Well, you know what? I actually liked that construction. Really just a display piece. That small amount of functionality at the top here where you can take this off and look inside to see the 2 miniature ships. Otherwise, just a static display piece, but a really good looking display piece. So honestly, if you like Star Wars and you like Lego, I think this would be a good addition to your collection. Well, what did you think of the build? Can't argue with the final look. Man, it just looks so good. And honestly, I think the size is actually just right. even though the love sculpture that I just showed is a lot bigger, if these Star Wars letters were that big, I think it would just look a little cumbersome to be that large. I think this is the perfect size. Well, let me know what you think of the build in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'll have something new for next week.